Okay, so chapter 2 is data and expressions, and you know data and you know expressions, right? So this chapter, these are the things that we will discuss. Let's go right to it. Character strings, okay? So this is a string. I do have this to draw on, so let me, I was so ready, and now I cannot find my pen. Oh, here. Okay. So this is a string, everybody. If you remember in Python, a string is something like something like this, right? Whatever is inside, that's a string. And this is also a string, a single quote in Python, not in Java. That's the difference. In Java, a string must be within double quotes. Okay, so that's the difference. A string must be within double quotes. Anything within it is a string. It's a number, it's still a string once it has the double quotes. And if this is a string also, empty spaces. So that is the difference, okay? And the string is an object, and we will discuss object later. So let's look at this program. This is a statement, okay? This is an object. We will delve into object very deeply once we get to chapter 4 after the first part. And this is called a method. You know a method. A method is very similar to the Python function, okay? And after each method, you must have this parenthesis, right? And you want to print out a string, it must be within double quotes, not single quotes. Once again, that's for Python. Okay, so this will print out whatever you are, be a good one. And we discussed this last time, the print and print line methods. Do you remember what the difference is?
Print line skips a line. Print just gives you a single line. Everything's written on that line.
Print line. Okay, what
It'll
about?
give you an extra line. Sorry.
It will give you a new line character.
Yes. That.
And print doesn't. Print will just print something, and then the cursor, okay, for print, it will print whatever you want to print. The cursor will stop right here. And so if you have another statement to print, it will continue. While print line is like this, print, 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 and it inserts a new line character, so your mouse pointer will go here. So when you print something else, it will go from here. Okay, that's the difference. And if you look at this, this is print. So it prints this, and your mouse pointer stops here, right? This is the second print statement, and so that's why this 2 goes there. And then your mouse pointer stops here, and then the next one, and your mouse pointer stops here, right? Because it's a print statement. And then lift off will be here. And then because it's print line, your mouse pointer goes here. It waits here. And so when you print this one, it will go to the next line. And now your mouse pointer will go to the next line. It will go here. Okay, that's the difference. We discussed that last time. So let's continue. String concatenation, we had this last time in class 1. I'm saying Python because most of you are from class 1. Several of you are from my previous class 1, which is Java or C++. So you will just have a review. Okay, string concatenation means you have 2 or more strings. You see, these are strings within double quotes. And you use this string concatenator to combine them. So now this will be peanut butter and jelly. It will be one string combination, basically. Okay. Pay attention to this. This would be wrong. When you do this, you say hello, comma, and go to the next line and finish the string. This is wrong. You cannot do that. If you want to do this, you on one line, okay, this one line, my internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes.
It says my internet connection is not stable. System print line. So you will, if you want to do it 2 lines, sometimes your string is so long, you want to go to the next line, right? For easier reading. So you will close this string and put a plus sign there and begin this with a new string. Okay, that's how you print it with 2 lines. And just like this, the bottom one, just like that. Can you put this plus sign here? Yes, you can. You can put it on either line, but you must remember to close the string. Okay, close it and begin the new one when you add them together, just like this. Okay, you are adding 2 strings, not adding, concatenating 2 strings together. Any questions? Okay, let's go to the next one. So this is just an example of that concept. See, ending the string, and this is a new string. So because it's so long, you don't want to write all the way, right? That's why you go to the next line and put a plus sign there. This will print out an empty line, okay? And this is one string. This is one string plus a number. So string concatenation is like this. A numeric value can be concatenated to a string. What that means is, if you remember in Python, you cannot do this. You have to convert this to a string. If you remember, right? You have to use the string function, convert it to a string to add them together, to use this to add them together. But in Java, once you have this, once you have a string at the beginning, this is a string as the first argument. Once you have that, this will become a string also when you concatenate them. So you can, it automatically is converted to a string. So you can concatenate them together. Instead of converting it to a string first, you can simply concatenate them together. And just like this one, okay? This is a string. This is a string because the first argument is a string, and now this one will be concatenated as a string, okay? And this number will be concatenated as a string, okay? And then this string will be concatenated to the previous string. So if you look at the output, that shows that. Do you have any questions, everybody? No? Okay, no questions? Okay, we go to the next one. String concatenation, okay. So here, if both operands are numeric, it adds them. The operator is evaluated from left to right, but parentheses can be used to force the order. Okay, so if both operands are strings, it concatenates them. If both operands are numbers, it adds them, and they summarize them. Okay, summate them. What else? Yeah, let's look at this example. And when, as I said, this is different from Python. That's why I'm spending a little bit more time on this. Okay, so this is a string here, right? And there are 2 arguments. If you look at it, this is one, this is another. And this is the addition, that symbol. Because this is a string, because it evaluates it from left to right. So the left one, the first one is a string. This one becomes a string. So it adds it to this string. And then now you have this string, right? And you have this plus sign, and this is a number, but because the first argument is a string, it adds to it. It becomes a string again also. So that's why you have this. However, if you enforce the priority, you use parentheses. Now you add this together first, and then add that to this string. So that's why here you have 69. That is the difference. Any questions, everybody? If I don't hear anything, I will take it. I cannot look at you. I'm not looking at you. So I minimize my little Zoom window. So if I don't hear from you, I will take it that you understand all this, right, everybody? Okay. And I also do have, if you look at it, I do have these explanations. So what I'm doing is to emphasize it, but you do have that explanation there. Okay.
Yes, I have a question. I'm sorry, I was muted.
Okay.
So the only difference is the parentheses. We don't have to type out the added or concatenated and nothing like that. It's just about the parentheses. Is that correct?
For this one, let me clear all that. Okay, yeah, if I understand your question, you're saying, remember parentheses in math, it enforces priority, and here it's the same thing. So here you really have two arguments, two parameters. One is that, one is this, right? Because it has parentheses. So you will always do the parentheses first. And you do that, that gives you 69, and you add that number, you concatenate that number to the first string. So that's
okay. So it doesn't matter what we type here. If we type concatenated or added, that's irrelevant. It's just a matter of the parentheses, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
And here you're doing these two first. Okay, because it's a string first and then a number, so it concatenates it to 24 and 45 concatenated 24, and then it concatenates this one to it, and it becomes 45. So that's where this comes from.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you just put it on one string?
Well, sometimes that's not possible when it is a variable.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Any other questions? We are using these simple statements to illustrate how it is used. Yes, you look at that, you think that is so useless because you can simply put it as one string. But yes, you understand me. Okay, let's look at this exercise. You do have the answers, but let's think. This one will be concatenated to this, right? And for this one, this is a string. This is a mathematical expression. So you will do that first and concatenate it, 165. And for this one, you will concatenate these two first and then concatenate that. So it will be 30050. And this one, okay, this one, I deliberately put this here so that you understand it. So what do we do first? From left to right, right?
Add 350.
So we will do this first, 350, yes. From left to right, we do this first. And that's a 350 plus a string. So 350Z, okay? That's the answer there. You already have the answer. Escape sequence. This one, I do not need to discuss it much because we did extensive exercises in class 1 and you all understand this. Basically, whatever you want to print out, you will use this /. That's used to tell the system, please print it out, okay? So for here, you're saying print out this double quotes, print out this double quotes, right? Okay. So when you print it out, you are saying hello within the double quotes. So you understand this. I believe you understand this. And these are the escape sequence characters. If you, this is backspace, tab, new line character, carriage return, it goes to the same line. Yeah, it goes to the same line. This one will escape the double quotes, single quotes, and backslash itself. Okay, you understand that. And this is just an example. If you look at this, so this will go to the next line, and then you will tab in. And so it goes to the next line and tab in, right? And then next line. So you will go to the next line. And then sugar is sweet. So because you don't have tab, it goes to right, the left, it's left align because there is no tab. Goes to the next line, it goes to the next line, and tab, so you tab in here, and I have commitment issues. This is a double quote, so double quote, and double quote, right, double quotes. And go to the next line, tab in, go to the next line, tab in. And so I'd rather just be friends. Go to the next line, tab, and okay, so that's it. Any questions about this? Okay. Okay, I gave you some examples. You can look at that, right? Okay. So for this one, because you already know, I'm just giving you an example of how to do this. Notice this is a single statement, right? A single statement. Oh, I think I said this for in Java, after every statement, you need the semicolon. Contrary to Python, you don't need a semicolon. Here you do. Okay, remember that. So this is escaping this is for this, right? And this is concatenating two strings and 3 strings. Okay, so this is new line character. It goes to the next line. This is the double quotes. Okay, I will let you look at that. You understand that already. And we will not do this. So let's go to variables and assignment. Any questions, everybody? Okay, variables. What is a variable, everybody? Do you remember?
A memory location?
A memory location in memory. A memory location in memory, yes. A variable is a name for a memory location that stores a value. That value can change, okay? So let's look at it. In Python, when you have a variable, you do not need to declare it. You can just use it if you remember in Python, right? You can just say total equals to 12. In Java, the difference is you must declare it. Okay, what does the declaration mean? That means you must have a data type. So int at the beginning, this is saying this variable will only be able to store an integer. And this is saying count is an int because these multiple variables are of int type. So you can separate them with a comma. But you can also just do int count. I'm just using C and int, temp, and int. You can do it this way also. Okay, but since they are the same type, you can do it on one line with one data type. This is saying all of them are of int. So that's variable declaration. You must give it a data type, unlike in Python. That is the difference. Questions? Okay. So this is called variable declaration with initialization. So what it means is you're declaring a variable named sum and you're putting a value 0 into it. So now in your memory, okay, in memory, somewhere you have a variable, you have a location that's named the sum. And you say, okay, make it 0. So that's what that means. Versus previously, you just say total, int total, that's variable declaration. So it says here, this is the variable, and I don't have a value in it yet. So there is no value. It might be garbage, but there is no value. That's why before you use a variable, before you use it in your statements, you must always remember to initialize it. Okay, if you don't initialize it, either it's garbage. In Java, most of the time, it will say you need to initialize it. Initializing means give it a value like this. Okay, give it a value like this. Give it a value. That's initialization. So what data type is this max, everybody? What's the data type?
Int.
How do you know it's int?
It's on the same line as base.
Yes. Yes, it's in the same line as base. And this is a comma, not a semicolon. Okay, this is a comma. So that means this is the same type. Remember that. Okay. So this is called variable declaration with initialization. In memory, there is a location that's called keys. And the, the value in it is 88. So when you use it, you understand this. In Python, you understand this. Except in Python, you have to convert this number to a string to concatenate them. But in Java, no, you just concatenate them. Okay, so this variable will be replaced by the value when you run, right? So a string concatenated with a number with a variable concatenated with a string. Okay, any questions? Okay. Let me see, do we want to do this? Maybe we don't need, okay, I'm going to ask you. We don't have much time, just know that, because, pause record. Okay, let's go on. Assignment. Assignment, you understand this. In Python, we have this also. This is a variable declaration with initialization. This is assigning the value to this. And this is very, I said this in class 1. This is different from math. In math, it's equality, right? In Java, in programming, this is assignment. It doesn't mean total equals 55. It means total, the memory location has the value of 55. That's what it means. It doesn't mean they are the same. They are not the same. Okay, that's why it's called assignment operator. It puts this value in that memory location. That's what assignment is. Okay, so let's look at this. So variable declaration with initialization, it's an assignment, right? You're putting the value 7 in it, but at the same time, you are declaring it. It's the first time size is mentioned. So concatenation, and then concatenation, right? And that's what is printed out, okay? And then you change it. So this means your variable, it's a memory location. Today you put something there, tomorrow you put something else there, and the next day you put something else there. It's a room, it's a storage. You can change the things, you can take things out and put new things there. That's what this is, and you understand that. So here size has the value of 10, here size has the value of 12, and so they change, right? They change. This Zoom thing keeps coming up. That's why. Okay, so you look at the example there. You should understand it. Okay, so let's look at this. Let me ask you these questions. Okay, int my cost is equal to 56. Int your cost is equal to 78. My cost is equal to your cost. What is my cost? What is the value in my cost, everybody?
56.
56.
78.
78.
78. So what is it? 78. Okay.
78.
Yes, because you're assigning the value in your cost to the location named my cost. So you put 78 there. And what about this one? What is in your cost?
My cost is in your
78.
cost, so that's 56.
That's 56.
Is it 78 still?
78 still. Okay, anyone else?
Or is it gonna keep going from the previous line? Or is it just okay, so then it'd be 78.
Okay, it's 78, right? So if you don't keep going, you don't have a value at all. You don't have a variable at all. So these are sequential, executed sequentially. So my cost now with this statement, my cost has the value of 78. So here you're putting 78 into your cost. Basically, it just replaces the same value, right? It has 78, but now this is an assignment. That's the whole purpose of this statement, okay? Is this a legal statement, everybody? Is it valid? Syntax-wise, is it valid? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, yes. What about
Yes.
this one? Is this valid?
No.
No? Tell me why not.
There's no semicolon.
No, there is.
Oh, there is. Oh, I don't see it on because the line,
it's your
the
circle.
red line.
Because of my
Yeah,
drawing. Yes.
that's
What about
right.
this one? Is this one correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Is this one correct?
No, it's not.
No,
No,
this
it's
You
not.
should go from
Everybody, remember, this
left
is
to
not
right.
a correct statement. Okay. On the left-hand side, it should always, always, always be a single variable. And that is the destination. That's the end point. So this is valid in mathematical formula, but not here, not in programming. Okay, so it should be total equals to my plus yours. Okay. I do have the explanation there, right? Okay, constants. Constants in Python, we discussed it, but there is really not a way to formally declare it. In Java, this is what you do. You use the keyword final, okay? Final, and then data type, and then the variable name. For constant, the variable name should always be in uppercase or in uppercase. If you have multiple words, you use an underlying character to connect them. Okay, so that's the syntax, and you give it a value before you use it. Okay, so final int, final size equal to 50. And when you mention this, it will be 50, right? Okay, so now after that statement, I want to erase. Okay. Okay, so that's that. And after that, you cannot reinitialize it. You cannot reassign a value to it. Why? Because it says so. It says final. So you cannot, once you give it a value, that's it. You cannot give it another value. That's why this is wrong. Questions? Easy to understand, right? Just remember, for a final, you give it a value, that's it. That's the final statement. You cannot reassign a value to it. Okay, this is final. This is a final. Okay, that's it. And remember, the name should all be capitalized. And I will let you study why we need a final, okay? 3 important reasons. You study that on your own. Okay, primitive data types. Before that, let me ask you, what is the assignment operator? Did I mention that? Maybe not. Okay. This is called the assignment operator. That's not the that's not equality. That's assignment. Okay, very important to remember. So that is assignment. A variable is simply a location, right? A named location, and you can put values in it. You must have a data type before you when you declare it. You must have a data type in front of it. Let's look at primitive data types. Okay, we say primitive data types. What that means is these data types are built into the language. So the language already has these data types versus some other data types like string. They are not built into the language. They are written by programmers. That they are not native. They are not born with the language. That's what that is. So we call these primitive data types. And for integers, we have 4 data types: byte, short, int, long. For floating point numbers, which is real numbers, which is decimal numbers, it has 2, float and double. Okay, one of them represents characters. This is different from Python. Python doesn't have this. If you remember, I always make that mistake of using a string. You remember that. And one of them represents Boolean values. That's called Boolean. And remember, in Python, it is, no, they don't use the word Boolean. It's the type. Okay, so those are the 8 data types. For integer, you have 4. For decimal place, for decimal numbers, you have 2. And then you have char, you have Boolean. Let's look at them. Okay. So what's the difference between these 4 data types? This is the largest one. This is the second largest one. And these, we really don't use them as much. The reason is nowadays memory is a lot. We have a lot of memory now. In the past, we didn't have much memory. So we take great care to save memory, because a byte only uses 8 bits. A short uses 16 bits. That's 2 bytes. Int, 4 bytes. Long, 8 bytes. So whenever we can, we save memory by using a shorter, smaller data type to save memory. Nowadays, it's not that much of a problem. So usually we use this for our regular programming. If you're doing scientific programming, you might use long, right? You have to use long because it's a much larger number, and you have the range here, you can see, right? So for us, we usually use int, okay? And this is for decimal places, for decimal numbers. For real numbers, float is 4 bytes, double is 8 bytes. Once again, you don't have to take that much care about the memory size. So we usually use double. And the system in Java, by default, if it's an integer, a whole number, the system will treat it as an int. If it's a decimal number, the system will treat it as a double. So the default types are int and double, not float, not long, not short, not byte. Okay, default types, int and double. If the system sees a number, if it's a whole number, it will take it as an int. If it's a decimal number, it will take it as a double, treat it as a double. Have double in Python, we only have float. So a char, this is a char, single quotes, and a single alphanumerical character. Okay, so that's a char value, a char value. And this is a char value also, a space. Okay, remember in Python, you don't differentiate char and string. Here we do, very importantly. So char is with single quotes and double quotes is for strings. That's the difference, okay? Okay, so let's look at this. This is not a char, it's a string. This is a char, okay? So let me ask you, is this a valid statement? Everybody, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, everybody, this is a yes. It's a valid statement. Yes. Why? Because the data type is char and the variable name is C, not very meaningful, but I'm just doing it for simplicity's sake. And the value is a char value, the single quotes, right? So semicolon, so this is a valid statement. Is this a valid statement? That's a long way.
No.
everybody. Yes or
No.
no?
No.
No? Anyone who says yes? Even if I don't see you, so it's okay. Anyone who says yes? No? So anyone who says no? I heard one no. Everybody else, is this a valid statement?
No,
No,
No.
why not?
because char should only be a single, right? Not
Yes.
not two.
Very good, Autumn. A char value should be a single character. Here we have two characters. That's wrong. And this one, is this valid, everybody?
Yes.
Yes, it is, right? How do I make this go? Okay, go up. Okay, is this a valid statement? Notice this one, and then we have this one. So it's declared. Is this a valid statement?
No.
No. Why?
Because I have a char. And
Because
also
double,
it's single.
because of the double quotes and the two characters. So absolutely wrong, right? And this one, is this one okay?
No.
Yes or no?
No. No.
No? Why not, Derek?
It's because it doesn't have the character, the char character. So
It's
doesn't have
already
a variable.
declared as a char, so you're just you're reassigning it to another thing, right?
Yeah. I'm initializing it to an empty char. I don't know if you can see that's a space. So this is okay. It's a space, right? Everybody, a space is a char. Okay.
Okay, my bad.
Yes. Okay. So that's that. And you go back and review, everybody. Okay. Let's continue. I have the answers here. So, okay. So the next part is, let me see, how do I make this? Okay, go down. Okay. Unicode characters. Unicode characters, we mentioned this in Python. There are two coding schemes. One is called ASCII, one is called Unicode. An ASCII character set is a subset of Unicode ASCII character set. ASCII is using 8 bits. Unicode uses 16 bits, which is much larger. And so 2 to the 16, you can imagine how many combinations you can have. So you can represent all the languages, all the characters in all the languages in the world. So we are using Unicode, and Java is really the first language that uses Unicode. Very advanced. Okay, I will let you read that. Okay. And if you remember, these characters have different coding schemes. This is 65. The code for it is 65, 66, 67, and this is 97, 98, 99. So period has its coding scheme, semicolon, 0, 1, 2. They are all digit. So they all have a coding scheme, coding character. This is not, I think it's 42, I forgot. The 0 is 42 or something. So or 52. It's not, here it's not a number. Remember, everything in the computer, it's not a number. It's just a coded bit pattern. So actually, when you say it's a number, it's converted by the computer, by a program. So they are all digits, okay? They are all characters. That's that. Now let's go to Boolean. Boolean, very easy to understand. You understand this, but you have to remember to declare it, okay? That's the keyword, lowercase Boolean, and false. In Python, it's uppercase. In Java, it's lowercase. That's very important to remember. Okay, that's the keyword, true or false. You cannot assign a value to it. So it has to be true or false. And you understand this. This is pretty easy to understand. Wrong, because this is a number. And this is correct because it is true, right? That's Boolean. Expressions. Expressions, we had this in Python. It's the same thing, okay? It's the same thing. But there is a difference. If you remember in Python for division, you have two symbols. One is this, one is this. This is integer division that gives you an int result. This is the actual quotient that will give you the exact result. So that's for Python. In Java, you don't have that distinction. You only have one division operator, okay? So let's look at this. If this is the rule, very important. You will definitely, you have 3 questions about this. Your quiz is mostly things that are different from Python, really. So if either or both operands are floating point values, then the result is a floating point value. So if the operands, okay, in your expression, that means if this is a floating point value, a double or a float, this is a double or a float, the result will be a double. If one of them is a double or float, the other one is an int, then the result is also a double. If both are int, the result will be an int. That's what this is saying. Okay, so let's look at this. These 3 are all doubles, right? Double. So this is 3, this is 5. So when it assigns it to divisor, now divisor will have the value of 3.0 because it's a double, right? Okay. And this one will have the value of 5.0 because the data type is a double. And so quotient is dividend divided by divisor. It will give you this value because both of them are floating point value. But when we say floating point, we mean double or float, okay, real numbers. So that's that, you understand that? Now let's look at this, okay. If both operands to the division operator are integers, then the result is an int. So look at this, both are int, and then your result will be 4. Okay, that is because 14 divided by 3, you have 4 3s in 14, and now you don't have enough. So it's an integer. That's the result. Okay. And this one will give you a 0 because 8 divided by 12, there is not enough, right? So that is the result. So if both are integers, the result is now remainder. I know some of you may still have problems with this. We discussed this in Python. Everything is the same. 14 modulus 3 gives you 2. Why? Because that's the remainder. Okay. 8 divided by modulus 12 is 8 because that's the remainder. That's that. Any questions about that? And look at this, right? I try to put this in the Python slides. I think you have that. So look at this, how you calculate the remainder and how you calculate the quotient. Any questions about this? No questions? Okay. If a number is the multiple of another number, the remainder is 0. You know, 12 is a multiple of 3, so the remainder is a 0. And this is one way to test if a number is the multiple of another number. You know, if someone modulus someone gives you a 0, that means the first someone is the multiple of the second someone. Okay. So let's go through this exercise. 12 divided by 2, what is the answer?
6.
6. 12.0 divided by 2.0.
6.0.
Yes, because both are double. 10 divided by 4.
2.
2. Very good. This is integer division because both are int. 10 divided by 4.0.
2.0.
2.0. 1 is a double. So
2 point.
let's see. Right?
2.5.
Okay, 4.0. And so this is 2, 8, 2, and then 2.5. For when 1 is a double, you need to continue. Okay, 4 divided by 10, what's the result?
0.
0, because both are int. You get an integer result. What is the result of this?
0.4.
0.4. 4 divided by 10 is 0.4 because 1 is a double. Okay, 12 modulus 3, what's the result?
0.
0, because there is no remainder when you divide 12 by 3. What about this one?
1.
1. What about this one?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Everybody. Okay. Once again, 3 divided by 10, you have 0, 10 in it, and that's the remainder. Versus 10 divided by 3, you have 3 3s in it, and you have 1 as the remainder. Okay. And 12 divided by 3, then you have 4, and you have 0 as the remainder. That's what this is. Okay, so remember, if both operands are integers, you get an int result. You discard all the decimal places. If one of them is a double, then the result is a double. So in Python, once again, you have the difference between integer division and normal division. In Java, it's just one division operator, but it depends on the operands. Okay. Okay, operator precedence. I will let you look at this. This is pretty easy to understand. If you know math, you have to know math. You understand this. I said I will let you look at it, but I'm continuing to do this. Okay, with this is secondary. This is first. So we do this first, and then from left to right. When they are equal, you go from left to right. Then we do this one, and then we do this one. Okay. So it will show you the precedence. If you have a problem, which you shouldn't, because you should have done this in high school already, middle school, elementary school. So I don't think you have a problem, but that shows you. Okay. For this one, yeah, you have this. You can look at that. Okay. Now let's look at this one. We do have this syntax in Python, so I think you understand it. Remember, this is called an assignment statement. Okay, it's an assignment statement. What that means is the value of this side will be assigned to this side. So that means this side, the right-hand side, will always be evaluated first. This one will be performed first. My internet is not stable. Okay, this side will be evaluated first. So if you have a variable named count in your memory, and it has the value of 12, okay, what this does is it will go to that memory location, get 12, and then add 1 to it. Now you have a 13, and then it places that 13 into that location. Now it's 13. So always this side first. Remember, your left-hand side should always be a single variable, which is the destination. Okay. Should we do this? This is, okay, let's go, let me see what time is it. Okay, let's go through this. Count 1 is 5, count 2 is 10. So we will do this side first. What is the value? Which one do you do first in this?
The 5 times 2?
5 multiplied by 2, that gives you 10. And you add 10 to 5, that gives you what?
15.
15, right? Okay, 15. And so you continue. So what is the value in count 1 now?
15.
15.
15, yes. And in count 2, it's 10. So now you have 25. Okay, and so in count 1 now you have 25, and count 2, what is count 2? It's 10, right? And count 2
Still
is
10.
10. So it gives you 20. So now count 2 will have 20 in it. Okay, you understand that? So because we are stressing this, because in math, you don't have this syntax. It doesn't make sense in math. So that's why we say, this is not equality. This is assignment. Okay. Oh, another thing, very importantly, the assignment operator is used to change the value of a variable. So if you have a variable, okay, named count2, how do you change the value? How do you change it? You use assignment. Okay, that's what this means. And the assignment operator is the double equal sign. Okay, you have this. Now let's look at this. Increment and decrement. This doesn't exist in Python. Python doesn't have this. Okay, so because the increment by 1 mechanism is used so often, we simplify it. We simply say count plus plus. This means you add 1 to count. And this is the same. When they are used separately, independently, they are equivalent. Add 1 to it. Okay, so this is functionally equivalent to this. Look at this. For this one, you have to repeatedly write this count, and you have to say add 1, while this is so simplified. That's why this is very much more preferred. Programmers like to use this one because it's simple. Okay, so that's count plus plus. I will not go into this. You can look at my explanation here because it really, oh, let me see. Yeah, I do explain that there. So, okay, now let's look at assignment. Okay, did we have this in Python? I kind of forgot. We have this in Python, right? Do you remember? Those students from the first class, you might forgot. I forgot. I think we have. I remember we have this. When you know 2 languages or 3 languages, sometimes you confuse them.
I believe this was also in Python.
Yeah. Yes. I think so. Okay. Thank you for confirming that. Okay. So this is in Python. You have no problem with this. This is equivalent to this. Okay. So I will let you look at this. This is easy, no explanation needed. Equivalent. You just need to remember the syntax. The operator first and then equal, right? Okay. Let's do this exercise then, should we? Okay, it's always good to do exercises sequentially, 1 by 1. Okay. I is equal to 2, so what is I now?
All
12.
12, right? So this is it's equivalent to this. So it will be 12. I is 12 now. I minus equal to 5. What is I?
negative 3.
Negative 3. Why? Okay,
7.
remember, everybody, this
Say
is
7.
1
Yeah,
by
I was
1.
gonna say 7 too.
7. Okay, because from this statement, it's 12 already. So you have a little variable here named I. Originally, it's 2. And after the first statement, it's 12. And after this statement, it's 7.
Oh, it says consecutive. That's why it tripped me up.
Okay. So what about this one? After this one?
One.
1.
Would it be 1?
1.
1. Yes, you are correct. Integer division. Now it's 1. And what about this one?
7.
7.
7. Yes. Okay. And this one? 7 modulus 3?
1.
1.
1. Yes. Okay. And then I plus plus?
2.
2.
2.
You add 1 to it. Plus plus I?
3.
3.
3.
You add 1 to 2, right? I minus minus
2.
2. You subtract 1 from it. Decrement. Okay. Minus minus I.
1.
Yes. Okay. That's that. Assignment operators, we discussed this already. You don't have to. This is more complicated. We seldom do it this way. This means you have to do this side first and then use the result to divide it. Okay, it's equivalent to this. When it's a complicated expression, we really don't do that much. Okay. Why do you make your life more complicated? Right? When it's easy, we try to do that. But when it becomes more complicated, we don't. Okay, and remember, there is no space between the two. So you cannot do something like this. It's plus equal. Okay, no space. Okay, we are almost done. Let me see. What time is it? It's 10:38. Okay. How about we have a little bit of a break? I have been talking for an hour. Let's have 5 minutes break and then we will continue, everybody. Okay, I need to go and get some water. So where is my pause record? Okay, so data conversion. Okay, data conversion, we don't have to go through the terminologies. If I had time, I would, but it doesn't really matter as much. Okay, so basically you convert data. You understand data conversion because we converted string to int, convert int to string. You know, we did that in Python. And so one is widening, one is narrowing. Widening means you are placing a smaller size data type into a larger size data type. So an int is smaller than a double. So you can put an int into a double, but not the other way around. If you want to put a double into an int, you must cast it. You must use code to cast it. That's what that is. Okay. So you can put a byte into all these variables. You can put a short into all these, char into all these, etc. But if you want to put a byte into a char because this is a number, you have to cast it. Okay, so this means. So let's look at an example. Yes,
Are
go
you
ahead.
supposed to be sharing your screen?
Oh, yes, I am. Okay, but you already. Okay. I was just talking about this one. So, okay, and this one. Okay, so now let's actually look at the example. If you look at this, okay, this is an example. Mostly when we talk about casting, we talk about int and double, really, mostly. Okay, so if you look at this, and char and int, okay, so this is an int variable, and this is a double variable. You are placing an int variable into a double variable, and that's okay. That's called widening. Why? Because an int uses 4 bytes, a double uses 8 bytes. So you can put a smaller foot into a bigger shoe, right? You cannot put a big foot into a small shoe. So that's what this means. You can put dollar into double directly, no problem. But now when you reference money, it will say 20.0. Why? Because this is a double. When you reference dollars, it's still 20. Okay. When you say money, print money, it will be 20.0. When you say print line dollars, it will be 20 still. Okay. So let's look at this. This is an int. This is a double, right? A double. And then when you do result, oh, what is my result? I didn't say what result is. Okay, result should be a double. Okay, so this is an int, this is a double. When one of them is a double, what's the result of this division? when one is a double, what's the result of the
Oh,
division? Double.
double.
Yes, just remember you have to have both as int to have an int result. Okay, if one of them is a double, then it's a double. So we put that. This is called promotion. That means, oh, you are accompanied by a double. Now you are promoted to a double. That's what that means. And this is called assignment casting, right? Because you're assigning an int into a double. And that's the three different types: assignment, promotion, and then the last type is casting. You don't have to differentiate them. You just need to understand these mechanisms, okay? So now let's look at this one. This is called casting, deliberately casting. And this is the same as in Python. If you remember, once I made a mistake of doing this, something like this, and it didn't work because I was using the Java syntax. In Python, it's int is a function. You have to, oh, I did this. I think I put this around it. But anyway, so the syntax is different. Okay, so here, this is saying cast this total into a float, convert it into a float. So total is an int, and it has the value of 50. So convert it to a float. We say cast it into a float. Now you have 50.0. Divide that by 6. Now what's the result? What type is the result? Is it an int or a double?
A double.
A double, because one is a double. Only when both are int, you have a result of int. Okay, so now this will give you a double, and you assign it to result. Okay, so here, total is an int, right? It's an int. It has 50. So 50 divided by 6, the result will be 8 because both are int. And so it gives you an int, 8. And that 8 is stored in result. Because result is a float, now you have 8.0. Okay, any questions? That's called data conversion. It's mostly this, and this is on your quiz a lot. You need to know this. You need to really understand this, okay? So for this one, this is not okay. Why?
Because it's an int and it should be a double.
Yes, this is an int declared as an int, and you're placing a double into it. Not okay. This is okay because you widening, right? You can place an int into a double, and this is okay. This is this okay? Everybody? Am I recording?
Yeah, it would just cast it as an int, right?
Okay. I would say no, this is not okay. Why? Because D is a double and X is an int. You do a division, what's the result? What's the result, everybody? No, you don't have to give me the value. I'm asking the data.
Just a double.
A double. A double cannot be placed into an int, so this is not okay. Okay? And you can look at the explanation if you don't have it, if you don't understand it. We are basically done with the data conversion. Do you have any questions? The concepts can be understood if you go through it slowly. Now we went through it. You looked at it before. Now we went through it, and you go back and review, and you should understand it. Let me repeat that again. Okay. If both are int, the result would be an int. If one of them is a double and two or both of them are double, the result will be a double for expressions. Okay. You can assign an int to a double, but you cannot assign a double to an int. You have to cast it. So you for this one, you cannot do it this way. This is not okay. You have to cast it, okay? You have to say int, and then 45.67. What will be assigned to num? Everybody?
45.
45. Remember, when you cast, the decimal places are discarded. It doesn't round up or round down. The decimal places are completely discarded, okay? So that's how you do that. Questions? No? Okay. Okay. Let's look at this interactive program. Okay, interactive program in Python is the easiest thing. You just use the input function. In Java, it's much more complicated. You have to declare a scanner first. Scanner is a class, okay? So you declare a reference variable to scanner. You name it anything. I named it as scan, right? And this is how you declare a scanner object. Okay, scanner scan equals to new scanner. That's the same name as your class name. And the parenthesis, this is the parameter, it's called system.in. System.in means getting input. System.out means getting output, right? You already are familiar with system.out when we print. System.in is to read from the keyboard. So this is how this is always the statement you have to have. This can change, it's just a variable name. Okay, so we are creating a scanner object named scan. And now we can read. Only then can we read from the keyboard. So scan is the variable name. If you name it something else, if you name it as input in, for example, if you name it as in, then you have to use in. If you name it as keyboard, you have to use keyboard. So this is the variable name, whatever you named it, okay? Dot followed by the method name. This is the syntax you are familiar. In Python, we had this syntax also. So the object name dot method name. Line will read the whole line, okay, including the new line character at the end. So that's why we call it next line. Notice the syntax, the spelling. Next is lowercase and line is uppercase, okay? L is uppercase. And so the scanner class is part of the java.util class library. So you have to import it. This import is very similar to the Python import. That means you're using something from the library, you have to import it. Okay. Okay, so unless specified otherwise, this you will not know until further. You can specify how to separate the tokens, but white space is used to separate the elements called tokens of the input. White space includes space characters, tab, new line characters. Okay, so next line will read and return all of the input until the end of the line is found as a string object. What is the end of line? The new line character. When you press enter on the keyboard, you create a new line character. That is the end of the input. Next is another method. It reads and returns only one token. So if you use next to read this statement, to read this whole thing, if you use next, it will read only this one word. Why? Because this is a white space, and the white space is used to separate the elements. Okay, so it will read this one word. If you use next line, it will read this whole line. That's the difference. Okay, including the new line character here. There is attached a new line character here. You don't see it. That's called non-printing characters, right? Okay. Next int will read an integer, an int value. And next double will read a double value. Next float will read a float value. Usually, we really don't use this. So basically, we use next line next int, next double, next int for whole numbers, next double for decimal numbers, next line for a whole line, next for one word only. Okay, so if you look at this, this is an example. This is the import statement. Okay, so within the and remember we said Java program is always composed of one class, at least one class. So here we have a class, beginning, ending. Okay, and then a class is made of one or more methods, and this is the method header, and beginning of the body, ending of the body, very similar to a function. And here we declare a message, and its type is string. This is called variable declaration. The variable name is message. And then we declare a variable named scan. Its type is scanner. And when it's not a primitive data type, when it's an object, you have to use the new operator to scan it. Okay, so to create it. So that's what this is. Okay, this is creating the scanner object. And now we print out something that you are familiar with, and then we read. So we use the variable name, which is scan, right? As I said, if you call it in, you will use in here. Okay, so this is the variable name. Dot next line. This will read a whole line and place it into message. And then you say you entered double quotes, that's the double quotes, and concatenate message, which is the variable that contains whatever you entered, and then you print out another double quotes, and that's it. So enter a line of text, you entered you want fries with that, and you press enter after you enter that, and you it will display you entered, and then you want fries with that. That comes from message. This comes from message. And this comes from this, right? This double quotes comes from this. So that's how that works. Any questions? Any questions, everybody? No questions? Okay, I'm going to the okay. So always remember to import, right? To import. And if you look at this one, we import also. So always remember to import. Otherwise, it cannot find it. Okay. The class name is called gas mileage, and the method name, for now, you only have this one method. Declare a variable named miles. Declare two variables of double type, gallons and mpg. And miles and it's an int. Okay, we declare a scanner. Now let's change the name. Let's change it to input, for example. Okay, we are tired of scanners, so we call it input. Okay, it's equal to new scanner system.in. That's just how you do it. You just have to remember it. Okay, and print out user input, user prompt. You tell the user what to do, and then you use how do we change this to make it compile, everybody?
You change scan to input.
Yes, scan is gone. It's not recognized. It doesn't exist. We change it to input, and then dot next int. Next int will read whatever you entered. Okay, so now in miles you have 328. Okay. So now miles has a number from the user. Remember, when you enter that, you press enter, that will go into miles. And then it will show this statement. When you press enter, it will show this statement. But that means this statement is done. It begins to execute this statement. Okay, it will print out and enter the gallons of fuel used. Okay, and it will wait for your entry here. Why do we need to change this to input, right? Because our declared variable is input and next double. Why do we use next double? Because gallons might not be exact number. It would be a decimal. So we use next double. It reads a decimal number into gallons. Okay. And then miles divided by gallons. What's the data type of the result?
A double.
Double.
A double. Yes. Because miles is an int, but this is a double. So it will give you a double. And that will be remembered in MPG, which is a double, right? That's correct. And so you print it out, you concatenate this string with the result. Okay, and that's that. So this is how you read an int, how you read a double, how you read a single line, how you read one word. We didn't have an example of one word, but if you want to read one word only, you just use next. Okay. So let's see, it's 11:04. We might not, okay. How about if we go over a little bit, you are fine, right? Let's do an example, not this whole thing, but I just want to start writing so that you can have a feel of it. Okay. So let's start Eclipse together. I think I have it. No. Okay, 6 minutes. We have enough time. Okay. Let me see. I will let it go down. So I will close this. And last time I think we created a program. Let's create a new one. Project name. I will call it interactive. Program. Okay. Okay, we don't need to create a module, you remember, right? So we don't. And now, right click on it. We did this last time. Always create a package. If you don't, if you use the default package, I'm taking points off. Okay, so create a package and then create a class. And for lack of a better word, I will just say interactive program. And you can check this one so that you don't have to type. If you don't check, you can type it on your own. Okay, so I will delete this, okay? And since we want to do an interactive program, we need to import. So import java.util.scanner. Okay, and now you can use it. So if we want to do an interactive program, the first thing we want to do is we want to declare a scanner. So let's declare scanner, and this is how you do it. The class name, which is scanner, and you call it in, okay, equal sign, new, that's the keyword, scanner, and within it, it's system.in. That is input. System.out is output. Okay, so we have a scanner here, right? We can use it. And let me see what I have here. We might just do several things, right? Get the user's full name, get the user's age. Let's just do that. I know you can do it, but I will do it once, only this once with you. Okay, so we want to get the user's age. We want to get the user's full name. Full name is not one name only. So we need to read the whole line, right? So Let's declare a variable to store the full name. Remember, in Python, you do not need to declare variables. In Java, that's essential. You must declare it before you use it. Okay, and age is an int. So, and then we will do user prompt to tell the user what to do. Okay, what is your full name? Right. Okay, and now we will read that full name. We will say full name. This is the destination. We will place the full name in this variable. So full name equals to, and we will use scanner to read it in. That's the scanner name dot. Since we are asking the full name, it is a whole name. So it's not just one token. It's more than one token. We will use next line. Okay. This will give you the full name. And now let's ask for the age. How old are you? And we will read the age into the variable age. So age is equal to the scanner name in dot next int. Okay. And then we will display, right? System.out.println. And we will say your full name is, remember string concatenation plus full name is what? We add the name to it. So this is string concatenation, right? And I'm going down to the next line. Okay, plus your age is plus age. Okay, and so and if you want your age to go to the next line, you can add a new line character there. Okay, that's it. If you don't see anything here, that means it's good. There is no syntax errors. Afterwards, it's always good to say close. That means you close the input stream. Okay, close the scanner. If you don't say it, is that okay? Yeah, it will automatically close, but you want to close it also. Okay, I'm going to run. What is your full name? I always use John Smith. Okay, how old are you? You press enter and then 21 and then enter, and you can see the result, right? So your full name is John Smith, your age is 21. Okay, that's how you do interactive programming, everybody. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.